So this is the last video for this section. There's only 3. So I'm just going to do 2 examples on this video. The first, f of x, it says to graph f of x equals 1/2 open paren x minus 1 close paren squared plus 2. So that's a quadratic in standard form. So from there I can read off the center by setting x minus 1 equal to 0, and that gives me x is 1. So the first coordinate of the vertex, sorry, not the center, the first coordinate of the vertex is 1. And then the second is 2, because if you plug in 1 in here, you get 0. Square root is 0 times 1/2 is 0 plus 2. So when x is 1, y is 2, and the vertex is a point on the parabola, so it has to be 1, 2. 1, 2. Also, we will graph 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1/2, that point. Or in other words, 2, 2.5 in parentheses. And 1 minus 1, 2 plus 1/2 in parentheses, which equals 0, 2.5 in parentheses, right? The parentheses here means it's a point, not an interval. You have to keep track of the context. So we always do this. So all I'm saying is, from your vertex, you'll go right 1, and it's always right 1, no matter what the other numbers are in the problem. So you'll go right 1, and you'll go up whatever your leading coefficient is, which is this guy here, 1/2 in this case. So right 1, up 1/2, from the vertex, not from some other point. Then we'll do left 1, up 1/2. So it's very simple. It looks kind of complicated here maybe, but it's actually quite simple. And the axis of symmetry will be x equals the x coordinate of the vertex. X equals 1, because the axis of symmetry always goes through the vertex. And it's vertical, so it has to be x equals some number, so it has to be 1 in this case. Okay, I'm going to graph it. So I'm going to graph the vertex first. That's 1, 2. And then I'm going to go, from there, I'm going to go right to the right 1 and up 1/2. And then to the left 1 and up 1/2. And that'll give me 2 more points on the parabola. It's very simple. Okay? And then you just draw your parabola in there. Now, on the homework, usually they might ask you to give 3 points on the parabola. Give these 3, they're the easiest. You could give other ones by just plugging in numbers for x, but these 3 are the easiest ones to do. 1 to the right of your vertex and 1 to the left of your vertex. And then they'll have graphing ones where you have to first click on where the vertex is and second click on one of these 2 points. So I usually use the one on the right, and then it'll draw a perfect parabola for you. That's the axis of symmetry in case they asked you to graph it, right? X equals 1. Okay, let's try another example. Find the formula. This is different. It's kind of backwards in a sense. Find the formula for the parabola with a vertex at -2, -1, and passing through the point -4, -2. Okay, so the -4, -2 is what we would call a constraint. So it'll kind of tell us how fat the thing is eventually. But you'll see the way I do this. So the -2 is h and -1 is k. And so I'm going to I write in the information I have. I don't know what a is. Right, so this is just the general standard form. I don't know what a is, so I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to leave the a there. I know that h is -2, so I'm going to put in the h, and that gives me x plus 2. And I know that the k is -1, so I'm going to put -1 there where the k is. So I'm putting in the stuff I know from the vertex. I'm not using that -4, -2 yet. Now notice that I have 3 unknowns. There's the y, there's the a, and there's the x. Okay, so now this is where we use this, the fact that this is a point on the parabola. Right, so this means if I plug in -4 for x, y will be -2. So I can plug these two in, this one for x and this one for f of x. Okay, so that looks like this. It looks like this part here, right? Now notice I only have one thing to solve for, that's a. So I solve for a. So I combine the -4 plus 2 is -2. And then this -1 term, -1 term, goes to the right side of the equation, becomes +1. And -2 plus 1 is -1. Okay, and then I just square the -2. Make sure you square the negative and the 2. It's -2 times -2 is positive, right? And I get a times 4 equals -1. And then I just cross multiply the 4. Bink, and I get a is -1/4. Right? Okay, now I know what a is. I go back. Now I want to have this equation for all values of x, not just for -4, -2. So I have to go back to before I plug those in, which is right here, and take this thing, right, this thing here, and put in the a, and that'll be my equation. So that's the equation, and you can double check it. The vertex is -2, -1, that checks, right? And if I plug in -4, I get -2 squared, which is 4, times -1/4. Oops, what did I do? Yeah, times -1/4 is -1 minus that is -2. Right, so when I plug in -4, I get -2. Okay, so that checks. Always check these by plugging the numbers in when you're done. And that's the end of that section, a fairly short lectures for that section. When you're doing the homework on this, make sure that you can do all the problems. If you have any trouble with any of the problems, remember you can ask me, and you can also ask other students in the class if you are brave. And you can also ask the tutors. We have math tutors, and the tutoring is free. And I'm not sure if it's online or not. If it's online, then just call them up and ask them how to do that. If it's face-to-face, then you just go in the tutoring center, which is in the library.